Welcome to the Man Cave Podcast. This is your escape for real, unscripted conversations about sports, hobbies, life, and storytelling. No scripts, no forced takes, just Man Cave talk. Now, here's your host, Dan Casper.
Hey, what's up, everybody? Welcome to a brand new episode of the Man Cave Podcast. I'm Dan Casper here as always, and as always, just a quick reminder, if you could, take a few seconds, follow, subscribe to the Man Cave Podcast wherever you listen to your podcasts. Also, follow the YouTube page. Just look up Man Cave TV on there and ring that bell and such. But, hey, thanks for tuning into this episode. And for this episode is actually a segment part of my radio show, the Dan Casper Show, which also has its separate podcast, so you can find highlights of the show, each hour of the show, usually daily, and that's the Dan Casper Show podcast. So look that up and follow and subscribe to that podcast as well. But I wanted to put this segment on because once in a while we have our conversations with Ty from Slab Factory, and Ty has made some big news in the card collecting world because he pulled a rare Tom Brady autographed card, and it's up on auction. And we talked today, May 20th, and the auction ends the 21st. So this is the first time we've gotten to chat, or I've gotten to chat with Ty, kind of detailing, how he pulled this card, what he was feeling, the process of going through everything and such. So I want to replay, or I want to put that conversation on this podcast. Now, I will give you a heads up. It's not the clearest audio because we actually did the radio show from our good friends at Hy-Vee in Eau Claire because they were having a veterans military breakfast. So we did it a live show on location, and Ty stopped over there and such. So you're going to hear some background noise, people in the background and such. So a little bit of a glitch here or there. Just that's what happens sometimes on live location radio shows and such. So, but I still want to put this out there because I think it's cool to hear the story. It's cool to hear the mindsets. You pull the card, then what? Where do you go? How do you sell this? Do you sell it now or later? And all that good stuff. And Ty is so knowledgeable and that. So I wanted to put this up on the Man Cave Podcast because I think it's a fantastic story and some good advice and some good tips. So here's my conversation with Ty from Slab Factory. Joining us is the man of the nation, the card collecting nation right now is Ty from Slab Factory. Well, since last I talked to you, some things have happened and then been out there. How's life been for you right now, dude?
It's good. Yeah. Context is important, right?
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah,
so,
no,
do you want me to? You go right ahead. I mean,
okay.
You are the guy that's, you got a 101 Tom Brady autographed card.
Yeah.
And it's up for auction right now.
Yes.
And it's worth a lot.
It's worth a lot.
It's worth a lot. So, I've seen the news. It's on Fanatics auction right now. So, let's just take it step by step. When you open that, because it was the last pack.
It was last pack.
Yeah.
So a lot of context here. I don't open a ton of products.
Mm-hmm.
It's funny how getting involved with like owning a card shop kind of leads to a little bit less, of the sort of like. I still buy, a lot of singles, buy and sell a lot of singles, a lot of them for the shop, obviously occasionally for myself, but like, don't rip a lot of product. And I certainly don't open hobby boxes very often. And this was a Topps Chrome hobby box. I had brought it down to sell, to attempt to sell at the Madison Card Show, which was going to be start later that morning. But morning of the card show, I woke up early. I kind of thought, I woke up early because I couldn't sleep. It was like 6 a.m. That box had been staring at me since the day before, and I thought, you know what? I've got some stuff I can, trade it. As owners, since there's 4 of us, I don't just like grab something off the shelf and open it, right? Like I, have to pay for it just like any customer would. Yep. So I took care of that, and then opened the box, and actually a couple packs in, there was a Josh Allen base auto, which was nice. And so I was feeling good about my box. You know, those boxes are one at autograph per box on average, like we talked about actually last week, where there's that average, right? So I wasn't expecting another autograph. I get to the last pack and I saw Superfractor, which doesn't mean autograph. You know, Superfractor, for those who don't know, is the coloring of the one of ones, which is like a gold sort of gold vinylish brushed pattern. And so you know it's a one of one. And I thought that, you know, that was exciting. I've only pulled one or two one of ones in my entire life. And so I reveal the card and I see that it's Tom Brady, and I'm like, oh, I hit the Tom Brady one of one, but it didn't even register with me at the time because obviously the checklist is not running through my brain as this is happening. The Tom Brady in a Buccaneers uniform is only an autograph in this product. And I don't think Tom Brady has an image variation in the product where he's in a Patriots uniform that's not an autograph, but he doesn't have a regular base card in the product.
Okay.
So in my head, I'm thinking, oh, cool, Tom Brady one of one, and then see the autograph. And then I'm running around the apartment in my pajamas, and it was something where I was by myself because I traveled down there for the show. We have a Jordan from the shop has an apartment rental down there that I was staying at, and I was just by myself. And it's one of those experiences that you love to share with other people in real time,
right?
But it's also 6 a.m. So I do call Jordan. Well, first I check the time. I see that my wife is definitely still asleep, and I weigh the consequences of waking her with a phone call. So I decide instead to call Jordan, who is one of my business partners, and I call him, and he's down at a show in Chicago, certainly sleeping, but I didn't care about the consequences of waking Jordan up. So I called him. He did not pick up. I called my other buddy who is down there, who is helping with the show with Jordan. I call him. I'm like, wake Jordan's butt up. And I sent him a picture. He responds. He's like, what is that? I said, it's my card. And he said, no, really, whose is that? And he said, I said, it's my card. So, the rest is history. The guys were obviously excited. The process after that was really interesting. I'm happy to get into that too, but it's at Auction with Fanatics, it's one of those once in a lifetime things for a collector. You don't really expect it to happen to you,
right?
And I certainly don't open enough product for me to expect that to happen to me at any given time. But it was pretty unreal.
Yeah. Well, let's kind of talk a little bit more about that. I know we're coming up at the top of the hour here, so we'll kind of dive into that. And if you have any questions just for card collecting in general for Ty to answer, please send those on over to. You can text them on that Shoe Doctor's bullpen line at 715-830-1912, or you can hang out in the Section 105 chat room here too. So. But, we got lots of other card collecting stuff to hit up. Plus, Ty has dropped off a card to give away for today. So we are going to do a little trivia question with this one because it is a Randall Cobb rookie card. We were just talking a little Packers there. So the question today, peeps, is, we'll make it simple. What college did Randall Cobb go to?
I know.
You know that one? All right, there you go. So what college did Randall Cobb go to? You can text in your answers at 715-830-1912. And we'll have that up for the next couple of hours from here. So, and since we've got Ty from Slab Factory here, I might as well just ask you right away. Jacob Mizorowski cards, with the way he continues to play, do you think they're going to go up in value?
They've been on the way up. Yeah. And I'm not sure how much higher his ceiling is in terms of pitchers are tough. Paul Skeens sells super well. Obviously, Shohei does, but that's not because he's a pitcher. Pitchers are an interesting market, but his market is certainly up quite a bit. And if he's in Cy Young talks toward the end of the year, then that's probably going to be the peak.
Okay.
And then obviously if he wins, then that's the true peak. But read the tea leaves. The peak is usually for a guy like Mizorowski. It's like, is he going to win or is he not? And if it's really tight, not a bad time to move your Mizorowskis if you're doing it for the sake of investment. But I mean, I'd like to. I'm holding on to some Mizorowski myself.
Yeah. So for the Skeens question, does part of that because of his pop culture value with
I think that
girlfriend?
helps. I think dating Libby Dunn helps. Yeah, I think so.
Well, is it one probably? Yeah.
Yeah, right. Yeah. Well, and I think for Paul Skeens, he was the first overall pick in his draft, right? Yeah. I believe he was. Yeah, and that certainly helps too. Pedigree, draft pedigree is important. The fact that he was elevated pretty much immediately, barely spent any time in the minors, and he's also, this matters a lot for pitchers. He's built like a truck, and he looks like the kind of guy that can be healthy. Mizorowski has bulked up a lot, and he is a flamethrower. I think people worry about his health because he's getting off the mound last night because he's gassed after 6. Yeah, and that's I think that I like the honesty out of Mizorowski, and as a Brewers fan, I like that he's getting himself pulled out. Yep. But I think some people worry about injuries with pitchers. So the moment someone needs like Tommy John or something like that, their market takes a dip.
All right, interesting. So let's go back to the Tom Brady. So the auction ends tomorrow, right? It
does.
So it's on Fanatics.
So I haven't been sleeping.
I was just wondering, how often are you refreshing? Did you have to step away a little bit?
It's so funny. Like I early on when it was moving a lot, I was refreshing a lot. Yeah. My wife and I keep joking that we're just waiting for the next dopamine hit. It's it certainly has been healthier for me to not be checking every hour. I check at the end of the day. I check when I wake up in the morning. And tomorrow will be hypothetically when things start moving again. The way these auctions work, they call it a dumbbell effect, which it's common in like any card that you have in an auction on eBay, much less something that's worth what this Brady is, right? That, a lot of activity on the front end of the auction and a lot of activity on the back end of the auction and not a lot going on in the middle.
Kind of like a deadline Spurs action sort of thing.
Yes. Yeah. So, I talked to the Fanatics reps. They fully expect, a decent amount of movement, but hey, who knows? And, we keep joking about it, but like, if it ended where it is today, it's life changing anyway. So,
right.
That's we're just lucky. I mean, the odds of that card being pulled is a lottery ticket. Yeah. There's pack odds to that product. So it's, 173,000, one in every 173,000 packs that you pull a Legends Superfractor auto in hobby. There's a 32 player checklist there. So it's 1 in 5.5 million odds of pulling the Brady.
Any thought of keeping it?
There was only the thought of keeping it in the sense that, so keeping it wouldn't have made a lot of sense to me for a number of reasons. I did have like conversations with a local guy who, I'll leave nameless. He was interested in potentially trying to buy a percentage of the card and hold it.
Okay.
With me as a co-owner of the card. I decided against that because I do think that product is as hot as it's going to be, being the first Topps licensed football product since 2014, I believe. We talked about that hype. I think that's important. But also, like every product that comes out after this, when it comes to like Topps Finest just dropped a Finest Tom Brady Superfractor was just pulled. It wasn't an autograph, but his Superfractor was just pulled. So every product that comes out after this, you're going to see more and more Tom Brady in the product because he's with Fanatics and he's with Topps. And so it's going to saturate that sort of Tom Brady rare modern card market. So I wanted to move it because I think now is one of the best times to do so. I'm sure that there's a time down the line that this card appreciates, and whoever buys it is buying it because they think the same thing, but for me, I wanted it out of my hands too. That's stressful holding on to that.
Yeah, I can imagine. So the other part of that too, let's say you were a huge Tom Brady fan, like you were a die-hard Tom. Does that alter the decision at all?
I think it would. Well, I think that's so. I mean, here's a perfect example. I mean, it's not the same thing, obviously, but like, I have this Andrew Fisher card with me that I think is really cool, really unique.
I'll throw it up there. Right
I think a lot of people have mentioned to me like, oh, are you going to sell that? Or are you going to sell that? I don't intend to because it is really cool. And I'm an Andrew Fisher guy.
Yeah.
I believe in him as a player and also a Brewers fan, but, if the right offer comes along, for me, my philosophy is that I'll move just about anything if the right offer comes along. That's just a healthy way for me to do the hobby.
Right.
I have plenty of stuff in my personal collection that's not worth the cardboard it's printed on that no one's going to offer me a lot for, and I love having because it means something to me.
Right.
You know? But something of that kind of value, I think it all comes down to, are you already a rich man or woman? I am not. So,
right.
I
you got bills and loans to pay,
exactly,
right?
Yeah. I still got student loans, and so that was never a question for me.
That's where one thing I've always, especially since this was brought up, I play a what if. I'm like, man, if I pulled something like that, like Tom Brady won, yeah, probably so. But then it's like, what if I was a huge fan, or like if it was a Packer player or a Brewer, and I'm like, oh, that fanism starts to come out a little bit, where it would almost be really hard for me to let go at that point.
There have been a couple of times that I've sold bigger personal collection cards that I didn't want to, but I kind of stick to that philosophy. But usually when it's going somewhere, it's not leaving a lot of room for it to be an investment. It's more that it's going into someone's personal collection where they're excited to hold on to that, right?
Right.
So in that case, I always feel a little better. I like that it's going to a fan. I'm not going to run a background check on them and make sure they're a Packer fan before sending them a Packer card. But I do like knowing sometimes that a card that I had that meant something to me went to somebody who also has that mean something to them.
Exactly. So what was the process from what you can say, Fanatics? Was there other potential options? Like, what was it? How did that process go? Was just kind of curious because maybe somebody pulls something like, how do I go, or where do I go, or anything like that?
Well, I just happened to have some connections that connected me with a rep from Golden Auctions and a rep from Fanatics. I negotiated offers with both. The offers consist of what percentage you take away from the auction, they sometimes do what's called the cash advance. And that is basically a guarantee saying, even if it sells for less than this, you keep this, right? Which, I mean, they know what they're doing, and it's never the case that it sells for less than the cash advance, right? It's usually anywhere from 25 to 50% of the value of the card that they do. So, there's a negotiation of that. I also talked to some people in the hobby that I know have moved high-end cards and asked for their advice in the process. So, I mean, I negotiated and I figured out I wanted to go with, Fanatics. I think the funniest thing that happened from that is that, sometimes they send out like a Brinks truck to your location. That takes some time.
Yeah.
And instead, Fanatics, because this auction was coming up so fast, they sent a shipping label insured for $499,000.
Wow.
Which is just hilarious.
Wow.
It's just like, I can't buy that shipping label.
Right.
Fanatics, they've obviously got some kind of deal with USPS, but, no, it was just, so they sent that out and I shipped it out. It was terrifying.
I can imagine.
They took care of it, and, they've been great. And, it's nice to have that direct rep too that I'm able to text with and kind of go back and forth with.
That's when you're talking about that. I'm like imagining Golden's Netflix series, Ken Golden showing up with like 5 dark duffel bags or something like that to your house or something.
Yes.
So.
Well, and Golden had a great offer too. I think for me, I liked the rep I was talking to at Fanatics, and we work with them quite a bit, so it was good to get that over there.
Right. So what a cool moment. So I'm excited. I'm going to follow along with you tomorrow. I keep refreshing it.
It ends at like, so I can't remember if it's 6 or 7 p.m. that the extended bidding starts tomorrow. The way that these auctions work, they have extended bidding, and from what I understand, I believe it's the same as what I've seen on other auctions, where it's basically if someone bids within the last however much amount of time, then it extends the bidding, and then it keeps doing so as long as there's a new fresh bid that's come in on that card. So it allows people to kind of keep fighting for it.
Right.
A little bit after the buzzer.
That's awesome. That's so cool. Congratulations on that.
Thank you, man.
That's awesome.
I appreciate that.
We got a question. What do you think about the Topps Now cards?
I actually just snagged some Topps Now cards yesterday because they have a Wembanyama one that's pretty cool. I will say that just like any other, product, your likelihood of so Topps Now, the way that it works is they take moments that happened in real time. They make a card out of it. Like they made a Wembanyama, 43 point, 20 rebound, whatever his statistics were the other night, game 1 of the Western Conference Finals card. And they do have a 1-of-1 game used net patch. They like put sewed a little patch into the net before the game.
Oh, nice.
That's one cool thing that Fanatics and Topps have been doing is like incorporating these patches. But there's going to be a 1-of-1 auto in someone's package.
Ooh,
right?
Yeah.
So like someone who gets some of those Topps Now cards will get that. It's just the same lottery ticket concept, right?
Yep.
But otherwise, what you're signing up to buy is just a bunch of base Wembanyama cards, which that's great too, which is why I got them. I thought if my worst case is having all these cool Wembanyama cards, I'm good with that.
Right.
So I got a handful of them. And, if you're lucky enough to have that sort of lottery ticket in there, then great. Otherwise, there's also numbered parallels of the base card that will, be in there, numbered to 99, numbered to 50. It all depends on the print run, which for that card will be insane. But yeah, what do I think of it? I think that just like any other product, you are taking a risk when you make that, buy as far as like whether or not you're going to get a hit. I like the guarantee of knowing exactly what you're buying, right? And sometimes you get a handful of clean ones that are worth grading or something like that, and then that's pretty cool too. So it's a cool concept, and Topps is just printing money with that. Right. Really smart concept by them.
So speaking of which, the new Bowman that you kind of mentioned too, is that the Fisher cards with that too?
Yeah.
So
the card that Dan showed earlier is a card that I sought out in my collection. It's an Andrew Fisher inscribed card that says Mr. Brightside of the Killers, which was his walk-up song at the WBC famously. That card is just an example of the fact that you can find inscribed autographs in Bowman product. So this is Bowman Chrome. There's Bowman Chrome, there's Bowman Draft each year. They release both. They're pretty much the same product, just have different prospects in them. And Bowman Chrome this year has Andrew Fisher, along with a lot of other great prospects from baseball. The chase in that one is Ethan Holiday, the brother of Jackson Holiday and the son of Matt Holiday.
Yep.
And there's other great players within that checklist, but it's all prospects. You also have some rookie autos, some, like you can hit a Made auto in there. That's a prospect auto, but it's not his first Bowman, which is, if you want to show that again, in Bowman product, if it's their first card ever, you'll see in the top right corner, they have that first Bowman stamp. Some of the inscribed autos that you'll find in the product say my first Bowman because it's the first one they signed. You'll notice that this Andrew Fisher one too is numbered 1 of 99. So he went out of his way to sign the one that was the first on print to 99 of this card. So, this is kind of a, know what you've got situation. If you pull an autograph out of Bowman Chrome and it's inscribed, it's certainly worth a decent amount more than your typical of that same parallel otherwise.
So, because we were talking a little bit off the air, I know like the Bobby Wood Jr. one and stuff like unique like that. Does that increase the price when you have something unique of an inscription like that?
Absolutely. It effectively makes it a 1-of-1, right? Unless they've inscribed a bunch of them or something like that. But you'll see sometimes athletes will put their favorite Bible verse or something. You'll see, like I actually pulled a Reed Shepherd auto a couple years ago when it was out of his college product that had a Bible verse on it. And, so it adds to the value in the sense that becomes a unique card, that is effectively a 1-of-1 in comparison to the rest of the regularly autographed cards.
I know this is a few weeks ago too, but like with the NFL draft, I thought it was kind of interesting or cool to see the players, they would sign their card right away. I mean, that's just maybe an example of how this industry has exploded so much. I don't know if those cards are for sale or for packs or
they're
what.
Part of I believe they're part of the Tops Now. The
molded card.
Yeah. So like, I think that the print run on the Fernando Mendoza, because the way that they do this is it's however many are ordered. So the print run on that one was like 126,000, I think, or something like that. I don't quote me on that. I think that's what I saw. And so like, there's so many of those. Your odds of the one of one are not phenomenal, whatever. But the print runs on those are based on how many buy them. But yeah, it's one of the ways that Topps has really embraced like the pop culture phenomenon that cards are. Players are more involved with collecting their own cards and their buddies' cards and Pokemon cards more than ever. And so like they are capitalizing on that, and they're getting them involved in that experience early. And so that's, I'll mention it's still getting sort of worked out, but I did have like one thing that I post on Twitter, and one thing that was pretty cool is that Andrew Fisher's mom commented on the post of my card. She said, "I love this card," and said something about how it's a special card. Right. I thought that was really cool, right? Families are getting involved with it too, so I thought that was great.
Yeah, that is awesome over there too. So like with you mentioned that with players, I instantly thought of like AJ Dillon, former Packer running back, and that I saw he had a video. He's collecting Jordan Love cards and all that. And then we're talking about Jacob Mizorowski. I think there was a video like Miz opened up a pack in a shop and got his own autograph card.
Yeah, and Jacob Mizorowski, if you're listening, come on over to Slab Factory in Madison. Right, we're trying to get you over to rip some cards, man. No, but Mizorowski's a big Pokemon guy too. He's big into sports and cards, so he's a big sort of new hot thing in the hobby as a collector.
Jamal Williams, I remember, former Packer running back on there too. So because didn't Mizorowski have a glove made?
He has so does Trevor McGill, I saw.
Okay.
Yeah, he's got one too. But so a lot of these guys have gloves made where they can slide a card in the back. I don't know. I don't think they're using them in real time.
I don't
think they'd like that.
No.
But a lot of these guys are getting involved in those kind of cool ways, and it's
which is called right now. How do I want to? There's like memorabilia, you got like the game worn jerseys and you got the cards in that. I mean, is cards approaching that? Have they surpassed? It kind of depends on, the collecting standpoint.
Certainly. Yeah, definitely. I mean, it's funny. Sometimes players will do these trades with fans where like, if there's a card they really want, they'll trade like a game worn, jersey that's signed and like a bat or whatever and all this stuff. And it's sometimes not nearly worth the value of the card monetarily, but it's all about the experience at a certain point.
Right.
The memorabilia is still popular, and the most rare memorabilia sells for crazy numbers. Game worn stuff that is like, if you can pinpoint it to a specific game or event, like that kind of thing is still very big. If the event was big, right? Like Con Knippel's debut jersey went for like $200 and something thousand, I think. But he's had a card sell for more than that, so it's
just for me too, like, 'cause I know the cards, they'll cut up some of that memorabilia and put them in the cards. Like, I don't want to be the person to do that.
Yeah.
Because I'd be free. I know somebody like had I think it was a Willie Mays card that had his autograph on it. I'm like, I don't know if I could cut that off.
No, I know. Yeah, they do cut autographs. Yeah.
It's kind of like nerve wracking.
Oh yeah, there's like cut autographs of like presidents and stuff like that. That would
like hair down there too.
Oh yeah, those are weird.
Yeah. But Rando says how cool to talk to the guy that found that card. Awesome interview. So it's life changing, man.
It was very cool, and really lucky, right? It is all luck. This is not financial advice. Do not buy boxes with the intent of finding that size card, right? it's just for the fun of it. As someone who's been collecting for a long time, it's a really cool experience, and it's been fun to share with people. And I look forward to seeing this auction end so I can get a normal night's sleep. I think that'd be great. And we'll see what that looks like in about 36 hours.
So just lastly here, maybe to kind of dispel some of the rumors and such, because I did have a couple people ask, oh, Tom Brady wants that card. Has Tom Brady reached out to you and all that? Not maybe he's a buyer. He could go buy it, right?
Yeah, no, he can. It's one of those things that it travels around the internet because the real story is that he has a video out that says that he wants his ultraviolet, which is an insert, his ultraviolet superfractor. He has like a bounty out on that. He also has bought plenty of his own cards. There's a chance that he wants this card. I wanted to go through an auction cycle. I did not want to go private party. I didn't want to go through jumping through the hoops of trying to find the right private sale. I wanted to have it, be in the public eye and like get a lot of eyeballs on it and see what it's worth. Right. With Tom Brady, it's not like he's on speed dial for anybody. So,
right.
Fanatics even did reach out and they did talk to him about the fact that the card was pulled before the auction started. I think that they tried to work out some kind of, social media engagement with him, and his team was busy, I mean, I don't know if you've seen, he was courtside at that one game, and then he was walking a fashion show or whatever. I mean, yeah, dude's crazy, but no, the rumor of him the other one is like he'll FaceTime whoever pulls it. Well, that was a video where he said if someone pulled any of his superfractors in a card vault location or from a vault box, from card vault, then he would FaceTime that person. So once again, I do not qualify.
Right.
But I hope to someday meet Tom Brady and say, hey, I was the guy who pulled that. Yeah. It'd be cool.
That would be awesome. Dude, I know I got to let you go here, but, a couple more weeks and we'll be able to find out to talk to you next time. And how it
absolutely.
All
I'll talk to you in a couple of weeks and let you know how it all went.
Awesome. Congrats again, man.
Thank you, Dan.
That's awesome. And really quick, we'll do this up for one more time here, but Ty was kind enough to donate a card for our giveaway today, a Randall Cobb rookie card. Just text us at 715-830-1912. The answer to this trivia question: what college did Randall Cobb go to? All right, text it to us, 715-830-1912. We're going to take a quick break. Back with plenty more coming up after these few words.